In today's session, we are going to discuss the Semester 5 English Honours syllabus. This semester is very crucial because it covers the transition from Romantic to modern English literature, including both prose and poetry, along with foundational literary theory. In this video, I will guide you through each paper, highlight the prescribed text, and touch upon the important exam-oriented questions that you must prepare. So keep your notebook ready and let's begin. Your first paper is DSC 9, English Prose 1, Romantic and Victorian Prose. The first paper of the semester introduces us to Romantic and Victorian prose writings. It includes two major women and men novelists, Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, Thomas Hardy alongside the essayist Thomas Carlyle. Jane Austen's we have Pride and Prejudice, with the main focus on marriage, class, irony, and women's role in society. Important questions include the role of marriage in shaping women's destiny, the character of Elizabeth Bennet, how she shows independence, wit, and personal growth throughout the novel, the character of Darcy, then Austen's criticism of social class and status, and the use of irony as her signature style. Remember, Austen uses the Bennet family not just to tell a love story, but to expose deeper issues of inheritance, women's education, and class prejudice in Regency society. Charles Dickens. We have Charles Dickens's The Hard Times, with the focus on industrialization, utilitarianism, and social inequality. Key themes include the character Gradgrind's education, fact versus imagination, portrayal of the working class, satire on utilitarian philosophy, portrayal of the working class, satire on utilitarian philosophy. Important questions include Dickens's critique of mechanized education, symbolism of Coketown versus the circus. Sissy Jupe becomes a vital character in Hard Times because she brings imagination and emotion into a world dominated by cold facts. Then we have Thomas Hardy's The Mayor of Casterbridge, with the focus on the rural society, destiny versus free will, and the tragic hero Henchard. Questions could include Henchard as a Shakespearean tragic character or Henchard as a tragic hero, the role of chance and destiny or chance and coincidence, the role of rustics in the novel, the role of women, how women are important in this novel. Henchard's fall is not only caused by fate but also by his rash temperament and inability to adapt. Then we have Thomas Carlyle's hero as a poet, with the focus on poet as visionaries and spiritual leaders of mankind. Questions could include key concepts of heroism, the concept of heroism as given by Thomas Carlyle, use of creativity, moral responsibility. For Carlyle, a poet is not an entertainer but a hero, a prophet, and a moral guide. The second paper you have in the 5th semester is English Poetry 2, Romantic to Modern Poetry. This paper traces poetry right from Wordsworth and Coleridge to poets like Eliot and Philip Larkin, covering the journey of more than a century and a half. We have Wordsworth's Tintern Abbey, with the main focus on nature as healer, memory, maturity versus youth. Wordsworth associates nature with spiritual growth and moral strength, making this poem a manifesto of romantic ideals. Then we have Kubla Khan by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. With the focus on imagination, Kubla Khan, the supernatural elements in the poem, dream vision, the fragmentary nature of the poem, and how romantic fascination is merged with the subconscious in the poem. Then we have Shelley's Ode to the West Wind, with the focus on symbolism, how wind is portrayed as a destroyer preserver having a revolutionary power, and how Shelley is portrayed as an unacknowledged legislature of mankind. Then we have Alfred Lord Tennyson's Ulysses, with themes of restlessness, old age, adventure, and the Victorian spirit of perseverance. Ulysses becomes a metaphor for Victorian England, always moving forward, never looking back. Then we have Robert Brownie's Porphyria's Lover. From Porphyria's Lover, we have the poem as a dramatic monologue, the psychology of obsession and power. Then we have Matthew Arnold's Dover Beach, with the themes of loss of faith, Victorian anxieties, and melancholy tone. Next, we have T.S. Eliot's Prelude, with the themes of fragmentation, alienation, with other key modernist features. Then we have Philip Larkin's Cut Grass, with a focus on mortality, transience, and nature's fleeting beauty. That is all from DSC 10, which is your second paper in the fifth semester. Then you have the third paper, that is DSC 11, English Prose 2, Victorian to Modern. From E.M. Forster's Colonial India to Virginia Woolf's Modernist Experiment, this paper shows us literature's evolution in the modern era. From E.M. Forster, you have A Passage to India, with the themes of colonialism, racial prejudice, the Marable craves, which is equal to the ambiguity of truth. Then we have Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse, with the focus on the technique used, the narrative technique, the stream of consciousness technique, and with the themes of time, gender, and memory. Then we have Catherine Mansfield's The Fly, with the focus on the trauma of war and how fly acts as a symbol of human struggle against inevitable death. Then we have Joseph Conrad's The Lagoon, with the themes of love versus duty, the colonial background or backdrop of the story, and moral dilemmas. That is all from DSC 11, the third paper of your semester 5 examination. For me, this is the most important paper, DSC 12, for your whole academic career, because you need to learn literary theory if you want to go forward in your English academic career. So in DSC 12, you have Literary Theory 1. Theory paper introduces us to the foundations of Western critical thought from Aristotle to Shelley. The first text we have is Aristotle's Poetics, where you would be asked questions like, give the definition of tragedy as given by Aristotle. What is a tragic hero? What are its characteristics? What is catharsis? What is peripety and anagnorisis? For Aristotle, tragedy is not about despair, but about purging our emotions through pity and fear. Then we have Wordsworth's Preface to Lyrical Ballads, where he defines poetry as language of ordinary life, emotions recollected in tranquility or calmness. Then we have S.T. Coleridge's Biographia Literaria with the themes of fancy versus imagination, what is primary imagination and what is secondary imagination. Then we have P.V. Shelley's A Defense of Poetry, where Shelley defines poet as a reformer, a prophet, and a moral legislator. So that is all from DSC 12. So semester 5 is designed not only to make you enjoy great works of English literature, but also to prepare you for deeper critical analysis. When you are preparing answers, always connect themes, characters, symbols with the historical and philosophical context of the age, romantic, Victorian, or modern. In my upcoming videos, I will take each text separately, summarize it, and also provide you with probable exam answers. Make sure to subscribe, take notes, and keep revising. Thank you.